Merry Christmas, everyone. I recently wanted to do a Christmas video for all my viewers and everything, but some stuff happened earlier in this week, so I wasn't able to get it and then edit it and have it up by Christmas. But it's still Christmas while I'm recording it, so technically it's a Christmas video and all that stuff. It might not be Christmas in your part of the world, it might not even be Christmas here by the time I put it up. But regardless, I wanted to talk about how Christmas is in the United States of America. Just in case you don't know, you might live in a different country, so I wanted to, spread some information, I guess you can say. I don't know. It might be similar in some aspects to where you live, or maybe your country doesn't celebrate Christmas at all. I don't know where you're from. You can be from anywhere in the world. I don't know. But alright, so I wanted to go over the basics of the basics. I didn't want to start going all into history type stuff and all that. So basically the the way a lot of people in the United States celebrate it now is based on this whole mythology about Santa Claus and all that stuff. In case you don't know, Santa Claus is this fat guy in a red suit, and he wears this kind of hat. This is a Santa hat, and a lot of people wear it around Christmas. Has a big white beard, and he lives up in the North Pole with magical elves, and elves make all these toys for the good children. And then late at night on Christmas Eve, or I guess maybe technically on Christmas, maybe past midnight, depending on the storyteller, he flies around the world and delivers presents to all the good kids that celebrate Christmas. And he flies in this sleigh that's pulled by these flying reindeer. I know it's kind of weird, but that's just the story. And originally, all the bad kids get lumps of coal, but now, I don't know, a lot of people have been making candies and treats that look like coal but are really candy for their kids. But I think if you have a bad kid, you shouldn't buy them presents. That's my opinion. So alright. Oh, and just in case you didn't know, Christmas is always on December 25th every single year, because there are some holidays like Thanksgiving that don't always land on the same day. But Christmas is always on December 25th, but some people do a little bit of celebrating sometimes on Christmas Eve, which is December 24th. Sort of a tradition, I guess you can say, or a custom, I don't know, is in December, a lot of stores around the country will hire somebody to play Santa Claus. He'll dress up, even put on a fake white beard unless he has a real white beard, and he'll sit in a big red chair, usually in a mall in different cities, and then the kids line up and come on and sit on his lap, and then the kids ask Santa, they tell him basically what they want for Christmas. Santa usually asks, what do you want for Christmas? And then the kids tell him. And then if they're good, he says, if you're good, I'll give you the present and all that stuff. And then sometimes they take a picture of them, or with them, the people take a picture of Santa Claus and the kid, and then they send them off, and then they get the next kid. And so that's a kind of a tradition, I guess you can say, that happens a lot around Christmas time. Various malls all around the country. And another type of tradition we usually have is decorations, specific Christmas decorations. A lot of people that celebrate Christmas put lights around the outside of their house. The basic kind of decoration is just lights around the rails on the roof, because it goes the roof and then the rain type gutter rails, and then the rest of the house. And so people usually put lights around the gutter rails, and that's the basics of the basics. But some people go a little bit further and start putting lights on their bushes and their trees and in their yards. And then some other people might do other decorations, like they might have a fake Santa and reindeer, and sometimes they even do snow, like fake snow. If it doesn't snow where they live, they might put or they might buy blankets that look like snow and then decorate it like that. Because of course, in the northern hemisphere around this time it's winter, but in the southern hemisphere it's summer. And the basic colors that are associated with Christmas are red and green. But some people also use white and blue, because those are kind of wintry colors, and so people like to use those. And there are some really, really hardcore type people that go all out with their decorations and put lights all over their house and sync it up with music and stuff. And you can see videos of those on YouTube. Look up I don't know, Christmas light decoration show or something, and you can see some crazy stuff. That is not normal. You do not normally see that when you're just going down the block in the United States. That's like rare stuff. So they put on a show and record it and put it on YouTube. And another kind of decoration people use is called a wreath. W-R-E-A-T-H. I didn't know the correct name of that for like the longest time. Apparently it's like the circular green pine tree looking thing, and people just decorate it and put it right outside on their front door, and it's just kind of there. Sometimes people make them out of real like pine tree needles and stuff and branches, but a lot of people just buy fake ones that are made out of plastic, because making them is really tough, and if it's a real tree then eventually it'll just die. And a lot of people buy these long, I think they're called garlands. They're just kind of long pine tree looking things, but again, a lot of people just buy plastic versions of them, and then sometimes they have lights built into them. They're just kind of long strings sort of that look like pine trees. And then another very important aspect of Christmas, I guess you can say, is the Christmas tree. Pretty much everybody that celebrates Christmas and that has any extra money will buy a big pine tree or fir tree or different trees that look like that are green, and they put them inside their house. And of course they put them in a base, so it's not just a tree sitting in the corner. It's like has a little base that holds it. People usually buy those, and then they still put water in it so it'll kind of survive for the entire month of Christmas. And then they decorate the tree using lights just like outside, and then most people usually use glass bulbs that they hang on the tree. And sometimes there's other fancy decorations or certain decorations like football teams or sports teams, or sometimes people just use this stuff called tinsel, which is kind of like silvered, really thin foil strings almost. They put those all over the tree. And at the very top of the tree, people usually put one of two things, either a star or an angel. And usually they light up too, just like the lights. And my family usually did a star for the longest time until one of my sisters moved back into the house with us, and then they started putting an angel on top. So it can be a personal preference type thing. It doesn't matter. Then underneath the tree, people put presents that they bought for everybody else, because Christmas time is usually a time where we exchange gifts. Everybody buys presents for everybody else, then they wrap them into special decorative wrapping paper and sometimes put a bow on them, and they place them under the tree until until Christmas Eve, usually. I should say usually until Christmas morning. Some people open them up on Christmas Eve late at night, and some people only open them up on Christmas morning, and then some might open it up at Christmas at the night time of Christmas Day. It varies from family to family. And like my family, we usually allow people to open up one present on Christmas Eve, usually at night, and then all the presents on Christmas morning. And so a lot of people, they wake up in the morning, the kids, and then they see presents from their family, and they usually see new presents from Santa Claus. Oh, and also the night before, people usually put out trays of cookies and a glass of milk, because that's the kind of thing that Santa Claus usually eats. So it's like, here you go, Santa, here's some cookies and milk. And sometimes they put out carrots or whatever for the reindeer. It's just like a little fun type thing. Mythology, I guess you can say. Oh yes, and I almost forgot, speaking of Santa and gifts and presents, people also put up stockings above their fireplace, if they have a fireplace, and some people have their names on the stockings, and then so they put them up Christmas night. Well, they usually put them up with all the rest of the decorations, but on Christmas morning, after Santa Claus has come, there's usually smaller toys or treats inside the stockings. And so that's like an extra little area where you get presents. And then we have the presents under the tree, and sometimes Santa might put the presents by the fireplace, if not under the tree. That's pretty much all there is about presents. But there are some treats that people eat specifically for Christmas time. Of course, America is like a whole collective pot of people from different races and countries, backgrounds, and all that stuff. So there might be certain foods that people eat depending on their race or their culture and all that. But kind of the common foods for all people in America, well, number one would probably be candy canes. It's just a hard candy in the shape of a cane that's peppermint flavored. I don't know why they put it in a cane, but they just do. Cane shaped, I should say. And then another common treat, I guess you can say, is hot chocolate. You know, the drink, it's milk, heated up, and then they add chocolate mix or some kind of chocolate, and then you get hot chocolate like that. Some people put cinnamon inside of it. I like to put the candy cane inside the hot chocolate, so it's kind of peppermint chocolate. Some people like to put whipped cream or marshmallows. It just depends on the person. And another unusual type of drink that is common is called eggnog. It's basically raw eggs mixed with milk and sugar, I believe, and then people just drink it like that. And then some people usually add some type of alcohol. I think it might be bourbon or something. I'm not sure. I don't drink, and even if it's not an alcoholic eggnog, I think it tastes really funky and a little gross. And I've consumed raw eggs before, and I don't know, that stuff just tastes kind of weird to me. But eggnog, some people like it, probably just to get drunk. They'll just say, hey, eggnog, whatever. And another common food, treat, whatever, is fruitcakes. I've heard about this all my life, but none of my family has ever made it or bought it or anything. Basically, it's a cake, a bread type cake that's sweet, and then usually has nuts and small fruits in it, like berries, and I think sometimes they might add pineapple to the cake. I'm not 100% sure. But I always hear in TV shows and movies and stuff, everybody talks about somebody making fruitcake and then sending it to the family, and the kids hate fruitcake, so they're always trying to hide and go away from it. But my family has never made fruitcake. I've never tasted fruitcake to my memory, to my knowledge, in my memory. I don't know, whatever. So I can't even say if fruitcake is good or not. So that's pretty much the basics of Christmas in America. So I hope this was helpful to you. And like this video if you liked it, and leave a comment telling me if you have some of the same traditions for Christmas in your country, or if you even celebrate Christmas in your country. Because I'm very curious, and tell me what country you're from, because YouTube, this video can go all over, so I have no idea where you're from, and I have no idea of all the traditions and stuff you might have and holidays that you celebrate. So I'm teaching you guys, and I'm interested in learning how things are in your part of the world. And you can also subscribe if you want to see more videos like this about culture and traditions and stuff in the United States.